This video includes a paid sponsorship from Novium, but I'll talk more about that later.
I haven't driven the Model Y since we took this. We take this
Okay.
to take it everywhere. But I did last week. I had a
Yeah.
26-foot box truck that I was running inventory around for my business.
Yeah.
And then I drove the Tacoma, and then I drove this, and I was like, oh, like it feels like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Comparatively, it's just wild in the experience. Like my Tacoma, which I loved, is a nice TRD Sport, is a lovely vehicle. But I felt like yabba dabba doo when I got back in that thing compared to driving this guy.
If you're active in the Tesla community on X.com, you know who Cybertruck is and that he is a Cybertruck superfan. Well, after waiting over 1,500 days to get his Cybertruck, Greg has finally taken delivery of his truck. And I was recently able to chat with him about his ownership experience so far after owning the truck almost 2 weeks. So stick around as I dive into his reaction to the truck. I'm John, and this is Cleanerwatt. First, I asked Greg if the Cybertruck lived up to his expectations and also if it was worth the wait. And here was his response.
What's been super fun is showing others. I've gotten to get in trucks before and kind of see what Cybertruck will be. I was at the delivery event. I had other experiences too. So it was really cool to finally see others experience it. And for myself getting into it, I was like, holy smokes, the way they just packaged this thing and brought this experience, it's the most fun on four wheels you'll have. But the way that it's just, the glass is incredible. The view out is really good. I feel extremely safe in this. I love the air suspension, how I can adjust my height and stuff. It's fun to mess with people of like just the difference of perspective of it. But I do feel like, yes, it very much does live up to my expectations. I was originally a dual motor, 300 plus range, $50,000 truck reservation. And that's what I got. Although it does cost more, I do feel like I got my 300 plus miles of range. I did get my dual motors. I have a pretty quick 0 to 60 time. We'll get quicker. I just think that overall what they've put together here is really good, man. It's so good.
While we were chatting, Greg was sitting in his Cybertruck in his driveway. And at least 2 times, people slowly drove by to take pictures of the truck. Greg has also posted on X.com about the attention that the truck gets when he is out in the public. And this is also something that I asked him about. And here was his response.
Even just last night, we went to Texas Roadhouse, and initially we parked further away and then a spot opened up front. And while we were parked further away, there's a group of kids that ran by and they're screaming, "Oh my gosh, Elon Musk is in there." And they're hyper rare right now. So a lot of people do think, who the heck is this? That happens anywhere I go. The coffee shop I go every day, and the baristas there know I've been waiting on this thing. I'm like, I'm gonna get it, and they keep asking when. And now I finally have it. And the perception of the truck now to the people that get to see it is like, this is actually really freaking cool. Largely, there has been a few negatives, but I would say they're extremely drowned out by the people that are like, okay, I get it now. Like it's not as crazy as I thought it was. It's polar opposites. So it's either it's smaller than I thought it was going to be, or it's larger than I thought it was going to be. But there's nobody that goes, that's exactly what I thought it was. Because how could you? Like, seeing pictures of this thing and then seeing it in real life is crazy. But old people last night at Texas Roadhouse too, to kind of tag back to that, I saw this old couple walking around the truck. It's fairly tinted, and it was nighttime, it's dark. And I just see this old couple, and he keeps looking around on the back, and then he goes up to the front. He's doing the same thing. So I finally get out, and I said, "Are you looking for a badge?" And he goes, "What is this thing?" And there's still a lot of people that don't even know what it is. It's Tesla's Cybertruck. This is Tesla's truck. And he goes, "It's a truck." And so I show him the bed and open the tonneau, and wow, that's really nifty. I never thought in my lifetime I'd see something like this. And what's it made out of? And you get to explain it. And being somebody the truck is a true passion of mine. I think that this thing is really incredible. I really believe in this vehicle. I'm glad to be the one that kind of gets to tell the truth on what this thing really, really is and what it isn't. So it's cool to be able to set that record straight and kind of be the walking billboard, if you will, for the Cybertruck.
Now, if you follow Cybertruck on X.com, you may not know, but he also now has a YouTube channel. And he will be posting Cybertruck content in the future, including a video about his delivery experience. So I definitely recommend that you go over and subscribe to his channel, and I'll put a link in the video description down below. But I asked him what kind of tests he planned to do in the future with his Cybertruck as kind of a sneak peek into some of the content we should expect from Gregor Truck, and here's what he had to say.
Yeah, for sure. So I live in Arizona and we
Yeah.
kind of have that like best of all things. We do if I want to go cold, if I want to go off-road in the woods, if I want to go out in the desert, any mode that they'll be throwing at this thing, like maybe a sand mode that's coming, it will this truck will be this is in a really great spot for me to go and test those things. So we have the sand dunes 2.5 hours away, and I could go up to Flagstaff and crawl rocks. And same with Sedona, where they literally have gone and benchmarked the Cybertruck as they were doing in pre-release. So this is my backyard. So
Yeah.
I would love to team up with others that are here locally. I've been doing some stuff with Jeeves and it's been a lot of fun. We have some other plans too, whether it be a racetrack or getting these things off road. He has an R1T and I have Cybertruck and I have access to a Lightning as well. So we do have some plans to kind of benchmark against each other and see what does the best. I think it could be a close match. And so that's the cool thing too, is like there is other options out there, but I think it'll really be cool to showcase that the Cybertruck is every bit as capable, if not more capable in some ways, than other trucks.
The Cybertruck steer-by-wire system with a variable steering ratio, its four-wheel steering, and its air suspension, the combination of those three features really make the Cybertruck handle very well on the road. I asked Greg about his personal experience with these features, but before I share his response, this portion of today's video is sponsored by Novium. I have really loved using this Interstellar Edition hover pen, and I believe you will too. This is a high quality, refillable ballpoint pen that stands magnetically in its base at a 23.5-degree angle, which is a nod to the Earth's axial tilt. You can get this pen in several different colors, including the space black color that I have, Mars Magma, Starlight Silver, and Neptune Blue. The space black color can be upgraded to include an embedded, real Moniona Losta meteorite piece, which traveled from space, made impact with Earth many years ago, and was discovered in northern Sweden. So you can actually own and hold a genuine piece of outer space in your hand. How cool is that? If you prefer a fountain pen, Novium also offers their Future Edition hover pens in a 2-in-1 roller ball fountain pen configuration. Hover pens do make a great gift for yourself or someone else, and you can find out more by clicking one of the links in the video description or by scanning one of the QR codes on the screen right now, and enjoy a 10% discount and free international shipping to most countries on all hover pens with code Cleanerwatt.
Steer by wire is like super different. Like it's ratioed by your speed. So when you're backing out of a spot, this is this. And I had a Tacoma before, and that's what uh that momentum of the steering rack would be, if that makes, I hope that translates, that would be how that would feel. So you have a little bit of a like, oh, like I'm moving a lot more than I thought that I was, but inside of I'd say like 50 miles I was pretty used to it and became quite a fan. The fine movements of like I do garage my truck for privacy reasons, especially right now. People love to knock and tap on the thing and peek in the windows. Getting it in my garage next to our Model Y can be a little touchy, but I've definitely day over day gotten better with kind of handling what that's going to be like. It's gotten to be very familiar at this point. It's gotten to be something that I really am not uncomfortable with. It's super fun when you're like turning the corner, because when you are having that deceleration into, you know, your 10 mile an hour that you take a corner at 15 miles, it just and it does corner like it's on rails. It really is something else. So it gives you this like very controllable feeling of the vehicle. It's crazy.
What about on the highway? Does it feel pretty amazing on the highway?
Yeah, I actually really love to, if I'm in a safe spot,
Yeah.
jam a lane change. And by that I just mean like and like take it,
Yeah,
because
just quickly. Yeah.
yeah, and I frequently feel like I'm driving the Tumbler in Batman.
Nice.
This thing just feels super solid and like we're over here now. Like it is its own thing. It's very, very different than anything on the road. I know there's been other vehicles with steer by wire. I don't know if they did the ratioed speed thing like what Tesla's doing here. And I think that's one of the things that was difficult for engineering to figure out and actually ship was that safely. But I know that it was a bit touchier initially, and then they kind of chilled that ratio out. But now it becomes pretty native pretty quickly.
I figured that'd be the case. Like anything, you just have to get used to something new. And then once you get used to something new that's better, you go
Mhm.
back to the old and you don't want it. Even if at first you thought it was weird. Like if you went now probably when you drive the Model Y, it probably feels odd.
I haven't driven the Model Y since we took this. We take this and
Okay.
take it everywhere. But I did last week. I had a
Yeah.
26-foot box truck that I was running inventory around for my business.
Yeah.
And then I drove the Tacoma and then I drove this. And I was like, oh, like it feels like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Comparatively, it's just wild in the experience. Like my Tacoma, which I loved, is a nice TRD Sport, is a lovely vehicle. But I felt like yabba dabba doo when I got back in that thing compared to driving this guy. Um, it was a great vehicle. It's just there's so many quality of life experience things that are super appreciated, with one of them being steer by wire. I think that's brought a lot of it.
Next, I asked Greg about his favorite Cybertruck features and what he would change about the truck. Here's what Greg had to say.
I wish the cell pillar storage was there. I wish there were something because again, with what my business is, I need access to like straps and stuff, and I put them in the sub bed, the smuggler's bay, the bed trunk. And if I forget and I've loaded the bed, I can't get to them now. So it'd be really cool if they did have something. Maybe they did it in the tailgate, like there was just some sort of a hide it in there, but that could still be the same issue if you're on top of the tailgate. So it'd be cool if there was some sort of a storage that was all times accessible, if you will. I think that they should have included the under seat storage with the truck. I feel like that's a very common feature that comes with trucks. That's a little nickel dimey, so that could have been a really good solution for that. But the cell peeler thing, um, I can count on two hands personal friends of mine in the Cybertruck world that were waiting on cell pillar and really wanted to see cell pillar happen. They're stoked for that, for rifles, fishing poles, tools, shovels, whatever it could be. And so to see that not happen, I get from an engineering standpoint what they did with the castings. It brought a crazy amount of torsional rigidity and crash safety to the bed that I don't think you find on anything else. But there was the sacrifice of cell pillars there, and that's a bit of a bummer. Even if it were pretty shallow, just to be able to put like straps or whatever, just miscellaneous things in there, that'd have been cool. But favorite things have been and still are, I love the stainless. I really do love and hate. It's a love-hate relationship. The fingerprints are crazy. I don't constantly clean it, but when I do, it is definitely a chore. I've not taken it through a car wash. Maybe I'll do a video on that. I do have a wrap coming up this following week that will be a PPF wrap around the whole entire vehicle. And that'll be nice because I think that overall cleaning it will be a much different experience. So I love the stainless. And back to the Tacoma, I had a total paint failure on the front bumper, the hood, and the roof, and had a hood scoop on it as well that were just super sun faded. So to not worry about that really anymore, that's a $5,000 paint job. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments and say it's 2,500, but it's expensive. A wrap roll is on the cheap, 6, 7, 800 bucks for a PPF roll, not the full, 40-foot roll that you might use or 100-foot roll that you might use to wrap the full vehicle, but to fix that bumper, hood, and roof, which it's glass, I'm not really going to fix that paint. It's much cheaper, and so I feel like the serviceability of the appearance is far more appreciable than in a standard pickup that we've seen for the last X amount of years. My other second favorite thing is still the tonneau. The tonneau is super underrated in a lot of ways. For my business, again, delivering TVs, if it's raining, I can throw the tonneau down, even if a little bit of the TV sticking out the back. That tonneau would diffuse a lot of that water from falling on it, but also protect most of the box, even if it's falling off the end. It'd still slide off as I was driving. So it would protect a lot of the commodity that I run in my truck all the time. But it's also for stuff that fits and the tailgate goes up, you're good luck. Like theft and stuff is largely removed from a concern with that tonneau. They did a really good job. It's a pretty simple mechanism that they did there. I liken it to like a snack shack door.
Okay, I want to talk about Cybertruck range and efficiency. I have done a few videos on this topic, But after we were done recording, Greg told me that so far, after driving 932 miles, with about 60 to 70% of that being city driving and around 30 to 40% of that being highway driving, he was averaging an efficiency of 387 watt hours per mile. Interestingly enough, this energy consumption is right in line with Tesla's estimates for the truck. So Truck is getting pretty much right what Tesla estimates it should. With that being said, Greg did share his opinion on the range extender pack and also why he believes that fast charging is actually more important than a future 500-mile range version of the truck.
And like one thing with like the range, for instance, I have again this like love-hate thing with the range extender. It was a great idea. It's annoying to have it take up the bed. It would have been cool to see them be able to do that another way, or maybe a secondary pack option that embody that range still in the floor so it doesn't take up the bed. But I'm also not paying for range that I'd probably never use. Like that's the other thing. It's a weight reduction thing, it's a cost reduction thing. And while there is certainly a crowd, no argument there, that would benefit from a 500-mile range and still having their bed, I completely agree. I and many others, I think most others wouldn't truly benefit from that. Well, I think what we would benefit from is quick charging, and that's coming. So yeah, they could have done 500 miles, and they probably will. There probably will be a 500-mile range Cybertruck at some point. But I think it won't actually be that popular because once the charging catches up with um that short experience, then it doesn't really matter.
With that being said, let's talk about charging. Greg was able to charge the Cybertruck with an 800-volt charger thanks to NXU Energy, which was formerly Atlas Motors, and he posted the initial charging curve on X.com. As you can see here, while the truck was able to reach a peak rate of over 327 kilowatts, according to this chart, that power dropped very quickly. While Greg is not able to share all the results of that test just yet, I did ask him to talk about this 800-volt charging test, and here's what he shared.
The charging curve that I shared, I'm so glad that that's out there because I feel like it will give people at least a baseline of what the truck can do with the hardware that's on it. The hardware that's on it, though, will do better. I'm not sure when Tesla will release that update to make it do so. Obviously, it's a double-headed dragon here. You have the truck that can do it, but you don't have the charging that can. The truck does not shake hands with CCS, so it's not like you could go to an Electrify America charger and experience what I did the other night with NXU. Vincent is awesome. He has this really sweet charging setup that will dump whatever the truck can take. It's extremely powerful. The truck does have a limit right now. I think we peaked at 323 charging one of the trucks. There's myself and a couple others here locally that as truck owners, we definitely want to participate with what I believe to be the only 800-volt max charger that is actually accessible right now. I'm like, lo and behold, it's up the road from me, man. How cool is that? I can go anytime. And Vince rocks. He's like, dude, just text me and I'll suit it on. So whenever that update does hit, you better bet we'll be up there doing a charging curve test to show the improved curve because it will get better. I hope to see that releasing here inside of the next couple 3-6 months. Could be sooner. But it will be better. But that's what I'm so happy to show is like this is what it can do, but it will do better. I don't think that Lars was blowing smoke when he mentioned that the truck will charge 15 to 85% in under 20 minutes. And I know that there's a lot of smart people out there that have looked and said impossible. Yeah, man, that's what they do is the impossible. Like just wait. I promise you, like it will get better. So yeah, and that's where I feel like the gas parity thing is really sweet. So you do have this vehicle now that I feel like appeals to a diehard gas world. This is so this will be the thing that I feel like brings a lot of people to considering an EV, if not truly pulling the trigger. But when we start to see these crazy fast fuel ups, charging experiences, no brainer. But we need to see a V4 deployment, obviously. New Energy can't really charge every single vehicle that comes at it, but they will build more chargers and they'll deploy those too. But I think that we need the big dog, Big Red, to be throwing those V4 chargers out there And I think that will be the biggest indicator of V4 really taking off and Cybertruck being important for that.
Once again, I recommend that you subscribe to Gregor Truck on YouTube, and I'll put a link to that down in the video description below, and also a link to his x.com profile as well. And also, I'd like to say once again, thank you to Novium for sponsoring this video. And you can find out more by clicking one of the links in the video description or by scanning one of the QR codes on the screen right now, and enjoy a 10% discount and free international shipping to most countries on all hover pins with code Cleanerwatt. Also, thank you to all of those of you who support me through Patreon. Your support makes a big difference and does help make these videos possible. If you'd like to find out more about how you can support my work through Patreon, I will put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.